It's comparison time. A lot of people are excited about the 5C and the iPhone 5S, and we thought, hey, why don't we show you a comparison in terms of the way that the phones look, as well as some important specs that you need to be aware about. So, in my hand is the iPhone 5, just the 5. There's no C, there's no S, there's nothing on it. And it's the white version, it's the white and silver one. And by the way, in case you're interested, this belongs to the head of Marcoms here in Vodafone. So she was kind enough to allow us to use it. Shout out to Wajiha. Let me go ahead and put this phone to the side because the next phone that we wanted to show off is the iPhone 5C. In this case, we've got the blue version. I'm going to put that on the table. And next up, we've got the iPhone 5S. This is the flagship phone, the phone that a lot of people are excited about. And yeah, this is why a lot of people will end up upgrading. Put that down right there. And just to show you a little bit of a clear comparison between the space gray version and the white version, over here I've got the white and silver version in comparison to. This is my personal phone. Let me just quickly give it a quick wipe on my thobe. And yeah, so this is the white version compared to the white version of the 5. As you can see, let's just compare in terms of specs right now. Let's just talk about that. All of the iPhones have a 4-inch Retina screen, so they're all identical when it comes to the screen itself. In terms of processor, the iPhone 5 and the iPhone 5C have an A6 32-bit processor, so they're identical. The iPhone 5S, though, has an A7 64-bit processor. Actually, it's double the performance in some cases compared to both of these phones. And the key difference with the storage of the 5C is that it only comes in 16 and 32 gigabytes, whereas the other ones also come in 64 gigabyte flavors. And of course, as a key difference, yes, we've got the home buttons on all of them, but here we've got the great fingerprint sensor, Touch ID. In terms of size, again, the 5 and the 5S are identical, but the 5C is a little bit thicker, but you won't feel it because of the curvature of the phone. It feels fantastic. The 5 and the 5S have metal bodies, whereas the 5C has a plastic polycarbonate body. In terms of talk time, this is where these two become very similar, because they both have 10 hours talk time compared to 9.2 hours on the 5. And these both have 250 hours of standby time compared to 225 hours on the iPhone 5. So that's a quick about the specs in comparison. At the end of the day, I'm sure you'll agree that this phone is the flagship, the most powerful one that they have. However, the iPhone 5C, while almost identical to the iPhone 5, has a slightly better battery, and in performance tests it's actually done a little bit better than the 5 as well. So there is that little bit of a spec bump. Who's the type of person that would buy a 5C? Honestly, somebody who prefers something a little bit more colorful and cheerful compared to, the very, let's say, futuristic / elegant metallic colors that they've used with the iPhone 5S. Again, in terms of color, this comes in black. It comes in white, pink, green, blue, yellow. So you've got a variety. Whereas with this one, you've got space gray, silver, and champagne. So, in general, all I wanted to say is that I'm really excited at the fact that with the iPhone 5S, because they haven't changed this design so much, I can use my iPhone 5 cases with the iPhone 5S. So that's something to look forward to. And let's flip the phones for a second. If we take a look at the iPhone 5 in comparison to the iPhone 5C in the back, they both have the noise cancellation mic and the camera and the one flash. But of course, and they're in the same position, but of course, the overall shape is different. And by the way, I really love the holding this phone in my hand. It feels great. It doesn't feel like plastic or polycarbonate. It feels like, I don't know, ceramic or even a metal body that's been covered with a thick layer of paint. It feels really nice in the hand. And of course, it's extremely glossy. If I compare this iPhone 5 with the iPhone 5S, now this is where there's a little bit of a difference. First of all, visually, this has a silver ring around the lens, whereas this one doesn't. But they've also got dual 2 LED flashes. This is supposed to give you a better color, so you've got a warm and a cold flash. That's pretty much it in terms of the overall big differences in design in the back. So you're asking me, Khalifa, what else is different between the phone? Why should I go for a 5S? Well, it does have a better camera. Although they're both 8 megapixel, it does take in bigger pixels. It has a higher aperture, and when you record in video, you also now can record in slow motion, 120 frames per second. It looks amazing. Finally, in regards to a lot of benchmarks, and it depends on what benchmarks you've been using, the iPhone 5S has topped many of those charts. Yes, I'm talking about all mobile phones, including the LG G2, the Samsung Galaxy S4, and they're all powerhouses in their own rights, but this did a really great job, especially when it came to web rendering. My experience using the 5S compared to the 5, and I've been using every single iPhone since it first came out, is that I think that the battery sensor is more accurate in this. And it could be that I've messed up my battery sensor in the 5, but when I do get down to 1% and then down to 0, and the phone actually dies. Whereas in the past with my iPhone 5, sometimes I'd get down to, let's say, 10% and then the phone would switch off. And then immediately when I plugged in the cable, the charger cable, it would just switch on again. So I'm happy that this is much more accurate. These are all fantastic phones. I'm sure that no matter which one you choose, you'll do pretty well. Make sure that you are the type of person that enjoys the iOS ecosystem, because for some people, iOS isn't for them. In my case, I'm an iOS fan, and I also use my second phone as an HTC One, and I've been using the BlackBerry Z30 as well, which I've also been enjoying. So this has been a quick comparison of the iPhone 5, the iPhone 5C, and the iPhone 5S. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please ask me a question in the comment section below, and I'll try to answer it as fast as I can. I really appreciate all of the comments and the feedback that you've been giving me. Don't forget to subscribe, and also don't forget to visit www.vodafone.qa. Thank you.